Can you give us some background on this particular slave ship and tell us why it is of such historical significance?
This particular ship, as you already indicated, was one of the earliest vessels to go and purchase slaves in Mozambique for the plantations in Brazil. And what we found out so far is that she, was carrying quite a lot of slaves for a small vessel, it's important for us because it's the first time that anyone has looked archaeologically at a shipwreck that has had slaves on it at the time it was wrecked.
There were some precious relics pulled from the ocean bed, Jaco, but diving in this particular location has been extremely difficult. Tell us why.
It's like a fairly shallow area, and the ship got stuck between two rocks, so it broke up between two reefs. Which makes it difficult because just behind the two reefs there's another reef, and as the swell comes in, it picks up from that reef and brings in quite a large sort of swell right up to the beach front. And if you happen to be in between the two reefs working there, it becomes a bit tricky sometimes. So we've got to choose our times when we work on the site quite carefully because it can be quite rough. It's been likened to being in a washing machine.
You've been working on this project for some years now. Why keep it under wraps for this long, Jaco?
Well, we had to find out with all the clues and all the information whether it is the ship we thought it was. So we had to be certain that this is the vessel before we make announcements like these.
And how did you piece it all together and confirm that this was indeed the ship that you were looking for?
We were fortunate enough to come across an archival account where the captain had made a testimony to a lawyer at the time. And in this account he gives us a blow-by-blow account of what happened. And that led us to the area where the shipwreck is currently. When we dived on the wreck, we found the artifacts that we found was consistent with the time period. We also found iron ballast blocks, which is a signifier sometimes of slave ships. We also found timber that comes from Mozambique, which is a bit of a smoking gun in this situation. So all the clues put together pointed towards the San Jose.
This kind of project involved a great deal of international collaboration. Will we be seeing more of this in future, perhaps?
Yes, I certainly hope so. We've got quite a few shipwrecks on our list that we want to look at, and we also want to go outside of South Africa, obviously. So it's a sort of international project in that sense as well. It's not just focused on one shipwreck, it's focused on the slave trade as such. So we'll do the triangular research in a sense, South Africa, Mozambique, Brazil, and then of course the USA as well.
All right, we understand that these artifacts will be on the way to the United States soon. Will they be put on view for the South African public? And how accessible to the public will they be made, Jaco?
They are already on view. We just opened up a small exhibition yesterday. So there are some objects on display at the Zico Slave Lodge in Cape Town. So members of the public are welcome to go and have a look at that. The items are going across to the Smithsonian on a loan period, so once they're done there, they will come back to South Africa because it does belong to the people of South Africa. We will also be hopefully recovering more items which we can then also exhibit in South Africa.
Thank you, Jaco, for your time on the PM News Desk. It was a pleasure chatting with you. That was Jaco Boshoff. He's the maritime archaeologist at Iziko Museums of South Africa and coordinator of the Slave Wrecks project.